What's going on, everyone? It's Zoo here from Touge Tuning. I'm here with John Malenka. He's been a customer with us for many years now, and we're talking about his 09 hatch.
I've been into cars ever since I can first remember. My father has always been into cars, and that's what kind of segued me into having cars and having the love for cars. His father was a mechanic, so we were always around cars. Then he bought his first toy, which was a 68 Camaro RSSS, which we still have today. That basically sparked the love. Then I saw Fast and Furious and Paul Walker and all that stuff. It just kind of all led up into this. I remember watching, well, I think it was Fast 4. This was the first time that the Subaru hatch was introduced, and I was like, that's my car. I want that car. That is beautiful. I love it. It is exactly what I'm looking for. Started off in 2013. I bought the car. The previous owner, which I wasn't really, didn't pay attention to, he didn't drive the car for 6 months. Something was obviously wrong at that point. It should have been a red flag. Yeah, I realized 2 weeks after into ownership that the car, actually the cylinder 4 was cracked. So I was pretty down, especially spending a lot of money on the car and then having to spend more money to fix it. Yeah, that's how it all started. Got the motor built. Then I had some issues with. The motor was perfectly fine, it was perfectly strong, but I had a little bit of issues with other things like oil leaks, coolant leaks, everything like that. I moved forward from the companies that I was with before to you guys, and ever since I've come here, I've had nothing but perfection done to the car. Everything that was wrong with the car was fixed, and I'm not trying to say that to boost you guys up, but that's why I'm here. I've had the Touge 2.5 XTR with basically the exact same setup besides the rotated kit. I've had that for about 3 years, and it was making pretty good power, 410 to the wheels, about 380 torque, and the car was absolutely phenomenal. It performed really well, did everything I needed it to do, but over time, and anybody who knows that's in the modified world, they just know that you can't stay with that one exact power. It's like you get bored, right? So I was like, it's time to move up. So now finally moved my way up to an ETS rotated turbo kit. I have the GTX3576R. Basically everything else, intercooler kit, of course. We got the injectors, 1000cc injectors, headers, everything's ETS. So ETS headers, Tomei exhaust, ETS downpipe, of course.
And you also had the ETS front mount before, so that made it definitely a lot easier for us to transition into the new kit.
And I figured that this turbo was kind of the hybrid between the two, between the 3076 and the 3582. You kind of get the best of both worlds between the two, and it's not, something too crazy. You get quick spool, sounds amazing. That's why I went with Garret.
You went with a pretty interesting color combination for the engine bay.
The Volk Mag Blue, I went with that color, thanks to RoRo Designs, by the way, for this amazing work that he's done. Great job. I went with the Mag Blue. He recommended it. It kind of matches my car, closest to it at least. Then for the Nardo Gray, I kind of wanted something that contrasts between the two. I wanted the dark with a little bit of the light. Chris, the owner of Touge Tuning, kind of recommended that color, and we just went from there. Yeah, he did such an amazing job. Thank you again, RoRo.
With the GTX3576R Gen II turbo on 94 octane pump fuel and 25 psi of boost, John's new setup makes 475 horsepower and 428 pound-feet of torque at all four wheels, which makes the car an absolute blast to drive on the street and at the track. 80 wheel horsepower.
Yep.
And what does that feel like in actual terms?
Incredible. Like, it's night and day. You really don't think that much is that much, but it is. You can hear it spooling even in vacuum. It's insane. Comes on super hard, and you're just all the way to redline.
When I think about a highly tuned Subaru, modified Subaru, you know, the noises that are associated with it are like a rally car. And I would say that, you know, the rotated turbo kit definitely just gives you that full-on experience.
100%.
Whereas I think if you go with the stock location turbo, you get a little bit of that. You get the power boost. You can get pretty good power out of a stock location turbo, as we saw 100%. With your car.
Yep.
But when you go full out and you get the rotated turbo setup, you really start to have that like full-on, you know, turbo noises everywhere.
The race car feel, yeah, for sure, 100%. I think that's what was really lacking with Subaru and stock locations. It's just, you can have the nicest sounding turbo, but it's hidden. You can't hear it.
Yeah, you can't hear it much. You can even go as far as go speed density, get
Totally.
like good blow-off noises and stuff. But when you just combine everything all together in one package, the good spool-up noises, the good blow-off noises, the power to back up the noises.
Something worth doing, holding on to the car for and building up to it, and you know, coming out with something like this is it's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's definitely really special. I think when you do a build like this, you get to choose all your own colors. Totally. You pop the engine, and basically, like, nobody's seen anything like it before.
Exactly. Yeah. It beats going to a BMW dealership and buying an M3 or M4. It's just, it's so much better. 1000.
I have the M3 for a daily, but I mean, doing stuff to that car is so different versus doing stuff to like an S2000.
For sure. You know what? We should play that clip where you scared the crap out of me.
Cue clip.